All right, I can't believe I'm gonna share this story publicly with you guys. It happened yesterday, but it's one of those stories that's so stupid, embarrassing, and hilarious at the same time. I think it'd be a crime to keep to myself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share it here. So yesterday I had a couple of Mountain Dews in my belly, and you know what happens if you have a few cans of Mountain Dew. I had to go to the restroom. I go in the restroom, lift up the seat, about to take care of business, when down in the water, there is a mosquito looking me dead in the eye. At least I hope it was looking me in the eye. And I'm like, all right, I have two options here. Well, I probably had a lot more than two options, but I thought to myself, you know what? 38 years on this world practicing my aim, destroying urinal cakes across this country. My life has led up to this moment. That mosquito is about to learn a valuable lesson about Mike, aka Cheese Pops. And so I let it fly.
Oh, God.
And I miss by a good... It was a wide mark. I'm still in the bowl at this point, but I miss. And I'm thinking worst case scenario, the mosquito flies out. That was not the worst case scenario. The mosquito flies right towards me. And not towards my face, towards a very sensitive area of my body.
Oh, man.
And I let out a high-pitched squeal. Things start going all over the place, and you can't just stop on a dime because that hurts. And long story short, I had a mess I had to clean up for 20 minutes. The mosquito got away. It was in the bathroom until my wife finally took care of it, but the bathroom is clean now. And I thought, that is the stupidest thing I have done in a long time, in 38 years on this planet. And I don't know why I shared it publicly. And here we are. But man, that was bad decision making. So if you guys are in that situation moving forward, just learn from my example. Don't have overconfidence going in there, and kind of maybe just flush the toilet and take care of it that way.
When you said it got away, I like the implication that there was some sort of like continued fight while all that was happening. You're just like trying to get it out of air while it's happening.
Well, he said 20 minutes of cleanup, so I imagine there probably was.
So I did some
mosquitoes just
cleanup.
mocking him.
I got more toilet paper. I tried to get it on the wall, and it got away, and it ended up hiding from me. And then I just, you know what? That mosquito won the day. It won the day, and I had to just, tuck the tail between my legs and retreat at that point in time. You got to know when you lost the battle.
Sure.
Wow.
I told you I'm sorry. I said in advance this is not a good story.
This was a terrible story to share.
But it needed to be done. It needed
It's a good tone setter is what that is.
Welcome to the podcast, MrMightyMouse.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the latest episode of. Are you guys ready for this? We're going to try to say this together. You guys ready? It's the name of the podcast. It's why I'm here. It's why you're here. It's the only podcast doing video games these days. Arcade Parlor. There it is.
Woo!
We're the only podcast on the internet doing video games. It's about time someone's doing it, and it's us. I am your host, David, also known as Poncho Taco on Twitch.tv. Happy to have everybody listening, the people who've joined us live today, the people who are listening at home, listening on their commute, listening on their jog, their workouts, whatever they're doing. Happy to have you listening here today. Today's date of recording is September 9th of 2023. It's about 3:54 p.m. Eastern, and this is episode 13. We just had our 1 year episode last month.
Crazy.
Which was an absolute awesome episode. Awesome one. Pops took over for an episode as the host, as something kind of unique and fun. And it was kind of nice not being the host for an episode. So it's always kind of interesting to have to direct the podcast, direct people to okay, we got to keep moving here. We got to keep moving. It's always interesting to do that. But it was kind of nice. So anyway, I'm your host, David here. Happy to have everybody here, and I'm also joined by some awesome people here. I'll go around the room here. Ashley, you've come and you've joined us once again. How you doing?
I'm doing
Welcome
good,
in.
David. Great to see you, my friend.
We got to ask the question. What's it like in Florida? What's it like in Florida right now?
It is currently storming outside. It's what is it? 3:55 p.m. and it looks like 9 p.m. It is just so dark and stormy. So today I don't think anyone would be envious of where I am at. It is muggy. It is hot. But it's still good to be a Florida girl.
It's actually really nice here in Michigan today. It's overcast, 67 and a little windy. This is like perfect. This is like perfect for me. It's actually a little chilly out. That's my preference.
I'm so jealous.
It's actually perfect here right now.
Sounds nice.
Ashley, great to have you here again on the podcast here. Mike, we got you here also.
How's it going, David? I'm excited to be here. I'm pretty sure I saw a mosquito flying behind you on your camera. Just a heads up.
There is actually a gnat in here.
I could see it. It flew in on this side of your screen. And I'm like,
you can actually see it.
That's why I taught you that lesson I taught you earlier. So you would approach it with a different mindset and game plan.
Hope your aim is better.
In my nice bedroom in here, right? Yeah.
Right. But yeah, always
I have to do this overlay. Otherwise, it's just a blank wall with a coffee maker right there. That's all it is.
Always fun to be here and talk nonsense. And I'm super pumped. Our guest today is an absolute legend. I am super excited to pick his brain, hear his story, and hopefully redeem myself from that story, because I'm already this low on their list of people right now. We got to work our way back up.
Nowhere to go but up.
Hopefully we can only go up, and hopefully that's the direction we're going here. Mike, great to have you on here once again, and we are also joined by our I don't remember what number guest, 10th guest, maybe 11th guest now. I don't know. I should actually count these things out before an episode. But our latest guest, MrMightyMouse of Twitch.tv. Welcome in.
Howdy. How's it going? It's
going
over
great.
Here chilling on the weekend. It's nice.
Thanks for being here.
Sometimes it's just nice to talk to people.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to get on a platform and just chat with people you don't normally chat with. And just have a good time. That's what we're here about.
If you think about it, when we're streaming, we really are just talking to ourselves the whole time.
Oh yeah, I mean sometimes that's better than talking to chat. But depends on the stream day, to be honest.
Especially if Ashley's in your chat, then it's just you don't want to be talking to that chat.
Last episode, we voted Ashley off the island. Now we don't even want to talk to her.
That's messed up.
You are the most ignored person as soon as you say hi. Is it a meme at this point? Is that part of the tradition now? If Ashley says hi, there's always 3 people hey, Punch, did you see Ashley said hi? You won't say a word. Stone cold.
But founder
you're the one they make an example of.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
that's a meme that's been around for quite a while now.
You gotta pick a chatter out and make an example of it. It happens all the time.
The amount of bits that man has made from people in his chat having the TTS say hi Ashley for him, he's never gonna say hi to me ever again.
That's fair. It's too self-taught now.
It's been monetized.
Yeah.
Next level marketing. I like it.
Over.
I like it.
Oh man. I was a couple weeks ago, I was watching a movie it's got to be one of the all-time greatest movies. Fantastic. My daughter had never seen it. She's 3 years old, and I think she's still too young for it because there's quite a bit of dialogue in it and stuff like that. But one of the greatest movies of all time, Muppets Treasure Island.
Oh, great one!
One of the greats. One of the greats.
Best Muppets movie. Best
Agreed.
Muppets
Wait, Mike,
movie.
you have not seen you have not seen this, Mike?
I have not,
Dude,
but I have Disney Plus. It sounds like I have a date.
It is legitimately one of the funniest movies. It still stands
Holds
today.
up, for
one of
sure.
the funniest. It is so good. Got Tim Curry in it as John Silver. You have of course all the Muppet crew in there and everything. Oh, it's so good.
One of Tim
It's
Curry's
so
best
good.
performances, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
All right. You sold me immediately because Pirates and Muppets was already a win. Throw in Tim Curry in that mix. You got yourself. My favorite Muppet is that, what is it? It's the little shrimp dude. I don't even know his name, but he's always hanging out with Gonzo.
I was going to say Gonzo, but that's not...
well, no.
Is it the red one?
Gonzo has the rat, right? He has the rat.
Has the rat, but there's also like there's a shrimp dude, and I just watched recently like the Muppets Halloween special last Halloween, and that's why I know. And he's just hilarious. I'll have to look up his name, but like my Muppet knowledge is very low. But I was just he had me laughing on the floor as an adult, which is hard to do. So I'll have to.
I had to look that one up. It's Pepe the King Prawn.
Yes, that's
the king
that sounds
prawn,
right.
by the way.
I do recognize that now. Yes,
not just regular prawn. King prawn.
I love Pepe. He cracks me up. Him and Gonzo working together. They're a pair that just constant menaces.
That's just my favorite Muppet lore. That canonically, Gonzo is actually an alien.
Right?
Yes.
He's like nothing else.
Canonically, like he was not born here. He came from outer space and is an alien.
Right, that's Muppets from Space. His family finally shows up. They conduct a rock concert and then just leave.
They leave him here?
Yeah.
It's his new home now. I mean, it makes sense.
Have you spent 5 minutes with Gonzo? I mean, I'd leave him too.
That's mean.
You know what? Funny enough, Muppets Treasure Island still like I still have references to it today. Like, so for my day job, I work in IT. And whenever I have to create like a test user or something like that, when we're doing testing with someone, I got to create a test user account. I always create an account called Billy Bones. And that's directly from Muppets Treasure Island.
Wow.
Billy Bones. And it's because of that. And every testing user I make, it's Billy Bones.
More.
And then we do all of our testing with that account.
Where would you rank Muppet Treasure Island in all-time favorite pirate movies? Is it better than Goonies? Is it better than the first Pirates of the Caribbean, which is an awesome movie?
I guess Goonies is a pirate movie. I was about to call Shenanigans, and then I was like, nah, that counts. There's a big pirate ship and everything.
One-Eyed Willie. I'm stretching it, though, but they have the treasure map. It's pirate movie adjacent. There's not one single living pirate unless you count Chunk and was it Slaw? How do you say his name?
If they were on a pirate ship with pirate treasure, pirate movie. That's just a fair analysis.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
I mean,
the whole point of the movie is them looking for it, right? Like they're looking for pirate treasure the whole movie. I think it counts.
To save the family's house from being like strip mined for a mall or something by the jerks.
Yeah,
love that movie. So good.
Old movie plots went a little off the rails sometimes.
Right?
Yeah, I can't really think of any other pirate movies I've seen besides like Pirates of the Caribbean, I guess.
What about Hook?
Okay, I did forget about Hook.
One of my favorites.
Hook is good.
Hook might be it.
I think Hook.
That's a tough one.
Hook individually, like the sum of its parts, is not as good as all of the individual moments in that movie. Because I can remember Looky Looky, I Got Hooky, Not So Fat to Me. Like every line in that movie, you know, Rufio,
you
can
quote
fly,
Rufio
you can fight.
weekly on stream.
I know.
Weekly.
And yet, I don't know the plot of that movie at all. I have no idea, but I know every individual line because, like, me and my brothers would just quote it all the time, being jerks to each other. And it's just, I like the movie, but I love the one-liner. It's like dense
Quotable.
with one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
What about me? What about Smee?
I'm a big fan that this just turned into what is Tim Curry's best pirate movie.
Wait, Tim Curry was in Hook?
Yeah, I think he's Captain Hook, right?
No, that's
That's
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh no, I'm thinking an actual series. Like there's a TV series.
That's right. That's
the
right.
TV series. Yes.
Yes. The only other pirate thing I've seen is what was that show? Black Sails. That was a pirate show. That's about like the build up to Treasure Island. I think if I remember right, I think it's about the build up, like 3 seasons of story before Treasure Island takes place or something. That's the only other thing I can think of that I've seen with pirates in it.
What do you think?
And yeah.
Do you think pirates are coming back or vampires? What do you think's first? Because like Twilight and Pirates of the Caribbean kind of ran their course, but everything's cyclical. They're going to come back. It's got to be vampires, right?
I hope so. Well, Castlevania's coming in at Netflix.
Yeah, the first two, like,
Yeah,
it's going to be
but-
different
Well,
than
it's
Trevor,
been
though.
there.
But One Piece is coming in on Netflix too, and that's all about pirates. I don't know. They're getting multiple pirate and vampire stuff. Could be either.
Yeah.
Pirate Vampires, the crossover. You
Yep.
heard it here first. That's it's coming out in 2 years.
We're waiting for it.
Vampirates? Is that
Wow.
what we're calling them now?
Vampirates. That sounds
The
like
pirate
okay.
It's
vampires.
right there in front of
It's
us.
a cinematic universe. That's what they have to
Oh.
be now. They're all cinematic universes.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
This podcast is off the rails.
Sorry.
What happened here? I love it.
Oh man.
You know what's really cool? with Hook?
I don't like this. I don't like this.
We've unknowingly spoke some evil into the world.
Right?
The idea of a cinematic universe for that. We don't need that.
I still say the only sword or the coolest sword in fiction history is the golden sword in Hook. It looks so cool. And I want the
Underrated.
Master Sword to get upgraded to gold at some point in time, and they never do it. They had the gilded sword for a second in Majora's Mask, and it looked kind of cool. But a gold sword is like the coolest thing. And I don't know if that's because I saw Hook as a kid and always thought, like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because gold's pretty soft for a metal, right? Terrible
Yeah,
sword.
it
probably.
is.
There's a reason
Yep.
they don't make it into swords very often.
but in fiction, the gold sword has to be the coolest.
I could see that.
I'm still partial to Sting. I don't know. I think Sting is a cooler. It's more of a dagger, but
Listen, in
I feel like
the hands of a hobbit, Sting is a regular sword.
that's true.
I don't know
That's
what that
true.
is.
I have no
From
idea.
Lord of the Rings.
You guys have never seen Lord of the Rings,
No.
have you?
I watched all three like a month ago. We watched them all in one day.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
You know
wasn't
what
it
Sting
much.
is?
It's the sword they give to Frodo that like glows when orcs are nearby.
Oh,
That's called
yeah, that's
Sting.
right. I do know what
That's a
Sting
cool
is. This.
sword.
Damn
Ashley
wise
has no
game,
idea.
Jesus, the
Ashley
goat.
has no idea.
I'm just smiling and nodding over here.
Smile and
Just know
wave,
Rudy
boys. Smile
carries.
and wave. Fair.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, we've already gone in two different terrible directions. Let's try to hone this ship in a little bit. This pirate ship in. No,
This
okay, I'm done.
vampire
All right,
ship.
let's go ahead and hone this in a little bit here. Yep. Again, welcome everybody coming into the podcast here. We are joined, of course, by Mr. Mighty Mouse, and we're excited to talk to Mr. Mighty Mouse about what he does on Twitch, what he's been doing, how long he's been there, and everything. So I guess we can probably just go ahead and jump right into that. Mr. Mighty Mouse, Twitch streamer, Twitch partner also.
Yep, I've been streaming for 5 years now.
Wow.
Doesn't feel
5
like that
years.
long, but then all of a sudden time stops existing and it's suddenly 5 years. So yeah,
Mhm.
a little weird. I mostly play like the majority of what I play is really hard SMW Kaizo, which
Uh-huh.
is really easy to explain to people who already know it and really hard to explain to people who have no idea because they're like, play a 30-year-old children's game, but like custom hard levels? Is that like Maker?
Yes.
Like, sort of, but also no, not at all. Yeah, they're very hard. I mean, at this point, there's like 1,000 plus Kaizo hacks. It's a
That's
pretty
crazy.
ridiculous scene. Like it's gotten cranked up to 11 for sure, which is a little wild. But that's most of what. And then when I need to
they're
relax
still
from
pumping.
that, yeah.
They're still pumping out hacks too.
Oh, yeah.
it's not
Like
it's
every day.
nonstop.
Like this
Nonstop.
year alone, there's been some bangers that have come out. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the hack I'm playing right now, the guy had been working on it for 12 years. 12 years
What?
for like a free to play fan mod of a game. Like, and you just say those words out loud and it seems ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just the absolute hardest ROM game that's ever been made.
I was about to
And
say
it-
we're 11 of those years him just trying to beat it.
Yeah, it's kind of wild because so many of the levels in it seem like they'd be really cool custom stuff if released today, but he started making them 12 years ago. It's like that's ridiculous. But that's what I'm gonna be playing for the next like I'm going to estimate 3 to 4 months. That one game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, if our listeners don't know what we're talking about, there's a infamous hack now, or pretty infamous now on SMW called Hacker's Dreams.
Yeah.
Who's the author of it? What was his name?
So on
it goes by
on SMW Central, it's Anonymous Bloodlust. We just like casually call him Anon. And then on Twitch, it's like high with like 32 underscores. That is an approximation, and that is very much on purpose. And then everywhere else, it's Shell Jump because he's making like an indie game too, like an actual indie game that's gonna be like listed in the Steam store and stuff, which is also pretty hard.
That's cool though. Like I've seen some of Hacker's Dreams. Like I've seen like I was watching a streamer play it for a while. Probably like 300-400 hours or something like that to complete the 12 levels, right? Is it 12 levels?
12 exits. Ridiculous.
Just 12 exits. And I didn't see the actual finale, but I went back and watched like a YouTube video of it, and like just looking at the last level, like it doesn't even make sense. I mean, sure, playing it probably for like 200 hours, it makes sense, but like as someone who's just casually watched it and then tuned in for the final episode, it's insane.
No, and I'll tell
I don't
you
even
this:
know how like anybody can do those reads.
It's not just insane for casual viewers. I've been playing Kaizo games for like 5 years. I don't know how many hours I have in SMW. It's like 5,000 or 6,000. And like, there's so many parts of that game where I was watching and I'm like, you just don't understand why it's hard until you play it. Like you can't, no matter how good you are, it doesn't matter until you're just playing it and it's like hitting you in the face with how incredibly hard it is. Wow, that was ridiculous. When did this happen? How?
That's why I like watching. Go ahead, Ashley.
No, you're I think at exit 6 out of 12 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And you have what?
You're
at 7 now.
Night, baby.
Oh, so you cleared half? Okay.
Yeah.
And
over halfway.
It's a kind of unbalanced. It's fun.
But you're at what? I think you were. Last time I looked, you were creeping at 130 hours.
126 hours, 29 minutes, and 9 seconds.
Wow.
I know that because this live split never closes. It's been open on my desktop for like a month or two.
Wow.
It's just better. It's just easier than having to reset it. I just leave that paused.
Right.
It's nice.
Wow.
It was fun watching you play, and as you said, like people don't know how difficult it is. You know, check out his stream because he explains where if he gets to a sticking point in the level, he's like, here's where I'm struggling, here's why this is tough, here's what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try this now. Like he walks you through the difficulty, and it's super fun to hear. As someone like I play a lot of Mario Maker, and it's a lot of maximum minimum jumps, and so a lot of the difficulty's taken away compared to ROM hacks. But in ROM hacks, you get those controlled jumps everywhere, and it's so hard because looking at it, it's like a jump's a jump, but it's not. And then watching you explain it as you're doing it is so much fun.
Well, yeah, I try to, and sometimes it's hard, but it's also just like that's a constant conversation topic. So it's like you almost kind of have to, because otherwise, even people who like all they watch is Kaizo games, like they won't know what's happening, or they won't because it's just like you can't pick that up. Like visually just watching, it's silly is like the best way to describe it, but like I've had multiple people ask, they're like, good luck with that crazy hack, I would never play it, because even in the SMW Kaizo world where like other streamers who have been playing Kaizo for many years are like not scared of it, but they're like, I don't want to play that. And for me personally, it's like once you get really good at something, there's an expectation to beat it, and to beat it like fast and in a timely manner. Like once you get good at Mario Maker and you're playing levels that you know you should beat, there's suddenly this expectation and this pressure to beat it, and it's you put it on yourself and stuff. And you don't necessarily have that. Like Ashley, you just played surfing, and you weren't like ticked off at yourself when you couldn't beat it in a night because you knew it was going to be a hard level, and that's like the expectations you have built up. And you kind of lose that once you get really good at something. You get like frustrated when you can't do the things that you've just been doing this whole time. And like this hack like kind of reverts me back to before that, which is like, it's just a nice feeling that to just go into something and there's no expectations to just like crush it or be good. It's like when I finish it, I finish it. I don't have an estimated time window to beat it. When we're done, we're done. That makes it so much more relaxing and nice than like crazy pressure filled that other hacks are. It's a really nice thing. It's just it's also nice to not have to pick a new hack to play every single day for months.
Right.
Because that's
true.
what I was doing
true.
before. Is I would finish a hack and I'd finish a hack or two in a day and then go pick new ones and then go pick new ones. And it's like that alone wore me down way more than any of the games actually do. Like the constantly having to find new content game wise every single day is it just grinds you down.
Would people ask why I play Mario Maker 2 instead of ROM hacks? I'm like, because I'm lazy. Because
I get it. Endless content, baby. Endless content.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah. No preparation
so
needed.
nice.
Just go live and it's all there.
I mean, I played viewer levels. To play. When Maker 1 was first out, I was doing viewer levels, and I did viewer levels for like 3 or 4 months when Maker 2 came out. Like, I did an okay amount of Maker. It's just that Maker 2 kind of died on the vine, if we're all being honest. They stopped doing updates, and they stopped this. So I was like, I'm going to go over here and play some SMW instead. We're going to be good.
It's always good to have that option on the back burner.
People actually keep making things for this. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the weirdest
content. It's so good.
The weirdest press conference ever. It's like, and we are going to announce we're never updating this game again. Just say nothing. Like, you don't have to announce that. It's like coming out and be like, we are never updating F-Zero on the GameCube again. It's like, oh, well, okay, that's fine.
I think the best part is like
kick you while you're down.
Yeah.
As of filming this, there's like a new Nintendo Direct was just announced. And of course, we always get to deal with the chorus of Mario Maker 3, let's go. It's like, okay, guys, calm it down a little.
I mean, I'm sure we'll discuss, but like, there was the rumors now going around about Switch 2 about to be released. There was a conference where it was supposedly talked about. The Mario community is all going to speculate if we're going to get a Mario Maker 3. Is 100%. It going to be there with release and all of that? So, I mean, it's exciting to think about for sure. But the thing is that with SMW and with Mario Maker, there really is still a lot of content being made. I see viewer levels popping off in Maker, and you see new ROM hacks being worked on every day and stuff coming out every month. So it's nice, like, to see the blending of the two communities that's been happening. Like, they were so separate before, and now I really feel like, especially in the Maker community, I see so many people, including myself, trying ROM hacks for the first time, and it's so different. Everyone always talks about, the physics are so different, but you don't know until you actually touch the game. It's literally a completely different beast. And everyone was like, shell jumps in Mario Maker, they're so hard. And it's just, if I can do a shell jump in SMW, anybody can. So it's definitely cool to see the two communities coming together.
Yeah, there's a ton more going on, and there's a ton more overlap. Although there always kind of was overlap. Like, if you look into who's making hacks, like,
true,
90% of them came from Maker. Like, they started as Maker creators. So that's just kind of how it goes.
I think
it's just like it's easier to solidify that you created something in SMW versus Mario Maker, because like one day Mario Maker is going to turn off and all the work that's on there is gone, never accessible again. You can't. I mean, if you downloaded some worlds or whatever, you'll be able to play them then maybe. But like as long as SMW Central's there, if that ever goes away, I'm sure somebody's going to archive it and post it somewhere else. But your work is going to be permanent somewhere else. So I mean, you have that whole element of permanentness to whatever you made. It's never going away. And I think that's also why a lot of creators probably have gone over in that direction. Also, is just because you're going to make something, and it's going to be there forever. Tons of people can play it at any point. And it's just there. It's not going away one day that, Nintendo will shut down these services. I mean, they still have Mario Maker 1 up. So I don't know when, maybe they'll never actually shut these things down. I don't know. Mario Maker 1 is still up.
You can't upload from Maker 1 anymore.
True.
No, you can only download or play endless or whatever.
And to your point, I was watching somebody play a hack from 2008 today. So they're gonna stick around.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is like, it's kind of silly.
Do you remember the first hack you played?
I do. It's Quickie 1. I had a escalation of hacks that I don't necessarily recommend everyone. Cause mine's interesting. I always wanted to do like, all right, what's the next hardest thing at my skill level? What's the next, at least for like the first 10, 20 hacks, that was like always my mindset. And it's kind of interesting. There's so many more beginner friendly hacks now for people getting in. But I also think that kind of leads to people like not pushing themselves to those like hard hacks either, like right away. Because I did Quickie 1, and then I did Dram, and then I did Grand World 1. The Grand World 1 was like my third hack ever. And I just like kept wanting to like push it up a notch. Whereas now there's like 8 million beginner hacks, and there's 8 million like easier intermediate hacks, and it's just we just have so many options, which is good, and like it can be a double-edged sword as far as like the player base goes. But it's Quickie 1 was my first one. That's actually why I started streaming, was because I was just playing Quickie 1 over and over again, and then I was like, if I ever want to submit a time, I need a capture card or something to actually capture this. And I was like, as long as I'm getting a capture card, I might as well get the rest of the streaming stuff. So we can like
get the camera,
so we can stream,
get the microphone, yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And then that's why I started streaming. Because I wanted to eventually submit a Quickie 1 time, and I wouldn't be able to do that without a capture.
Wow. So your first intention was speed running SMW ROM hacks.
Yeah, I just kept playing it over and over. Yeah.
I think that's
prior
a huge
to that
difference.
though, I was making Maker 1 levels, and that's like what got me into a bunch of people's community. Was Maker 1, so.
Which is so much better than Maker 2. Just
really
there's
is.
so many things that are funny.
There's so much more
and goofy
personality.
about it. And of course, I didn't stream then. I want big wiggly Mario. I want stupid costumes. 100 Man is so much better than Endless because there's an actual goal. And like, but that's the one thing you said. Speedrunning, I think, being in the more of like the Maker side of things, like we don't have that. We have individual world records on levels. There's no one has speedrun a world as far as I'm like aware of that's become. I'm sure people have, but it's not become a popular thing at all.
The closest thing y'all have had, and I don't know why, but I was invited to it like a while ago, was the GSA like Maker League. Do any of y'all remember that?
No.
So it's like the GSA is like a speedrunning association. I don't remember. And they did like a Maker League where they were like randomly pulling levels that you would like race through. And like we all kind of did it because it was like, this seems kind of cool. And then halfway through, we're like, this isn't the best format for the, like, this game isn't made for speedrunning.
Even at GDQ, they don't speed run it. They're like, here's random levels, try to beat it as fast as possible, because it's not necessarily it's not really speedrunner friendly, I guess. The worlds could be, but still at the same time,
just a different type of content.
It's a different vibe, it's a different feel, and like that's the one thing that when I first got into streaming and YouTube and all of this stuff, like watching this stuff, it was from speed runs of ROM hacks and stuff like that, and seeing GDQ runs of those. And then
I was going to say the Dram GDQ run. I think that's where like 80% of this community got in.
Right.
Either that or the very first Kaizo run at GDQ.
It just blew my mind to see stuff like that. Like, I got to get involved in this speedrunning thing. Played Castlevania for 2 days. I'm like, I'm never speedrunning again. I hate it. I flipped so many tables. Level 3 is a jerk.
See, that's why I know you actually know what it's like to be a speedrunner, because we all say that about our games. Why do we play this terrible game? All right, we'll start the run over.
Let's do it again.
Yep, run it back.
It is cool the bond speedrunners have, though, because like I was in the Castlevania speedrunner community for 1 day, and like 3 people reached out to try to help me, and they're like ranked 1, 3, and 5, and I'm like, this is incredible. And like the Mario community is the same. Like I've seen you and Ashley stream helping her out. Like the friendliness in the ROM hack scene of just people being so excited to have someone fresh come in and try to join. Like, there's not a lot of games out there. Like, I've gone online and been yelled at for even trying to play the game, and it's the exact opposite.
I was going to say, all the other major games, like, you go play Minecraft, and then all you have is randos coming in being like, You could build this instead.
Noob.
Thank you.
That's not what I'm doing.
Thank you for your contribution to the stream.
You want to 1v1 me in my server, by the way?
Yeah.
That reminded Pops. That just reminded me. I was playing GeoGuessr on stream.
Oh my god.
Which I do on Sundays. We play GeoGuessr with chat. Everybody works along with us, and one day I'm playing it, and this first time chatter comes in. And I know a lot of people listening are gonna know what I'm talking about, but they're just like 1v1 me so I can embarrass you in front of your chat. And I'm like, this is I don't even take this seriously.
Sure.
We're like only half playing the game and talking.
GeoGuessr.
Like, okay, it's GeoGuessr. I guess we can 1v1. I don't know how you do that.
They take it serious.
Oh my god.
I hate to see that. I've actually seen that before.
Almost good as the troll level that was submitted to you, where at the end of the troll level, the guy's like, all right, now you have to invite me because this is a co-op troll level. And that's still to the day the happiest I've ever been not to be the streamer. It's so good.
That was the worst. Oh, man.
The only time I've ever seen
level.
you mad ever since I've known you was that day.
So much time was wasted there. Wow.
It's
so much time.
I have to say, like,
definition of a maker stream.
Yep. With me, like, I've streamed Maker so long, and I'm on my third ROM hack now, which is Quickie 1, which was MrMightyMouse's first ROM hack. And that's how I met you. Like, I'll stream, and people know I'm new, and they look on SMW and they see somebody they've never seen before, and they'll pop in the stream. And they're so helpful. Like, everybody is so kind, and people are like, do you want help? Do you want a hint? Hey, there's tech here I don't think you know. And those, I don't feel pressured when it takes me a few hours to beat a level, because people stay and they hang out and they're there for the grind and they know you're new. And it kind of makes the W at the end, like, so much bigger, like, there's, of course, if somebody like amazing beats a ROM hack level, like Barb plays a ROM hack and beats a level in 20 minutes, it's like, yay, Barb beat a level, amazing, but Ashley Florida's on her third ROM hack, and it took her 4.5 hours to beat Sarfin Castle, and I never saw my chat ever go faster in my entire life than when I beat that level. It was huge. So it's really nice. Like, and you were saying, MrMightyMouse, that a lot of maker people kind of, especially makers of levels, have kind of gone into the SMW community. They're doing lunar magic, they're making ROM hacks, and for me, my dream ROM hack, I think everyone's got one where, like, that there's a ROM hack that they want to beat one day. Mine right now is Chicanery, made by legendary Mario Maker creator Bufflin, and he went from legend in Maker to his for a first hack. Wow, it just looks super sick, but super hard too. So what's what's you guys' like dream ROM hack that you guys would want to beat one day?
I mean, I'm playing Hacker's Dreams, so
I was about to say, is it Hacker's
I was gonna
Dreams?
say it's probably Hacker's Dreams for you.
and real talk, I might have played more hard hacks than like anybody else I can think of in the community at this point, just because I'm dumb and like. I've played like any other thing that people might consider like a top 5 hack. It's like, I've played all of those. But I was talking about that earlier where it's like, I didn't have a dream hack. So I was just pulling stuff from SMW Central, like hoping cool things would fall in my lap over and over again every day. So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of Hacker's Dreams. And it's interesting because one other person that I mean, 3 people have beaten it, but one person's beaten it recently. And it's like one of those things when a massive project gets done and afterwards you don't know what to do. And there's just like an empty spot in where you were supposed to be doing things. I fully expect the same thing to be happening to me when it's like 400 hours later and you've beaten and you're like, what do I do now? Like,
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it's like, it's well known as like the most difficult hack. Where do you go from there? You know what I mean? It's like, you can't really chase, at least on the difficulty spectrum, right? You can't really chase that anymore. There's got to be other things to start chasing.
It's a disservice to compare it to any other hack difficulty.
Sure.
It is a complete and massive disservice to the point where it's like, it's going to take me 5-6 times longer than any of the other longest hacks took me. At the longest hack, I guess. So yeah, no.
At least by
that's
then,
the hack. That's the dream one.
At least by then, Grand Poo World 3 will be out.
It might come out before I'm done. We'll see.
I don't tie Arcade Parlor to this announcement, but I think I have heard like in the next month or so there's some stuff moving on it from what I understand.
Yeah.
My guess was
he wants to get things
before
done
Twins,
before
yeah.
like kids are delivered and stuff like that, and that's coming up in very soon. So I've heard rumblings from the man himself that it's hopefully really soon it's going to be coming out.
I think they're due in December.
Yep.
I think we said.
That's a bummer for me. Like, great for everyone else, but here's why it's a bummer for me, because, obviously GDQ Kaizo hacks is how I got into Mario. Think it's cool. And then, I don't even remember how long ago it was now, but when Grand Poo World 2 came out, that was the coolest thing in Twitch history to me.
Yep.
Because I would go from streamer to streamer, just watching them grind. And that was to this day the most fun I've ever had on Twitch when it came out. And I said to myself, if I ever become a Twitch streamer, I will get good at ROM hacks. When Grand Poo World 3 comes out, I'm going to be a part of that group, and it's going to be incredible. I have played one hack. It is my good friend's hack, and I beat it, and it was a ton of fun. It was his very first hack ever, and I played the first level of Grand Poo World 2. I did beat it eventually, and that's my entire... So 3 years of streaming, I played one hack in one level, and I'm like, I'm not ready at all. So I'm like, there's still time, and we're out of time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Grand Poo World 2's release, I think that week, SMW was the 7th most played game on Twitch.
Wow.
Yeah, it was legitimately
it'll be bigger this time, I'm sure.
You have to there's no way it's going to be it can't be as big.
You don't think so?
No,
Can't
7. Be. First of all, SMW hype has died a little bit since that super hype, and it's too big. You can't that's just too much. It was a magical moment,
It was like
we don't know why it was that big, because it's a really good game, but it's not 7th on Twitch best game. That's ridiculous. I mean, 70,000 viewers or something ridiculous.
It's mods of a 30-year-old game.
Yeah.
Right.
The community was super perfect at the time too. You got Pooh, Barb, you had everyone playing that game, and you could just hop around, and everyone was it was so exciting. And I would pinpoint that is why I'm a Twitch streamer now and want to be a Twitch streamer. That was the most rock and roll thing I have ever seen. Bad at music, not good at wrestling, so I couldn't be a wrestler. So what's the third best thing I could think of? That was rock and roll to me. That was super cool, and those were my heroes when that came out. These people playing these really hard levels, the hype when they got a checkpoint after so long was just, and then when you would see one person fall for a troll, and you're like, okay, I just saw MrMightyMouse fall for that troll. I can't wait, because I know this person's a few levels behind. I'm going to go watch them, and I can't wait for them to fall through that invisible rope at the end, because it's going to break their soul, and it's going to make... It was such a moment.
Yeah, it was a pretty insane time. It was good.
So we've heard about you on Twitch starting off with Mario. We've heard some of your Kaizo during some of your early ones. Tell us about before Twitch. What did you do? You grew up all your life playing video games, consoles that you used to own, favorite games back in the day?
I've always kind of been a Nintendo fanboy, and not an extreme amount. I think there's definitely a portion in the middle of my life where I wasn't playing games as much. But I've always loved the SNES games, the Mega Man X's and the SMRPGs. I've always loved all the Final Fantasies were always really, really fun for me to play, and Zeldas. Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many Marios, so many of the Marios and Zeldas and Smashes, all the big Nintendo temples. I was always super into. And I guess like Guitar Hero and stuff too.
Ooh.
What's your
It's-
favorite
it's
X
weird to
game?
think
Oh, yeah.
about. My favorite which game?
Mega Man X.
It's one. It's one,
one?
but it's because of nostalgia.
It's so
I'll fully admit it's just like 2, probably a better game. Maybe 3
Three
or 4,
not as
but
good.
like 1.
4
it's
is
just-
awesome.
Yeah, 4
Underrated.
is fantastic.
Super
Still
cool.
1 though. It's just one of those things. I speed ran Mega Man X.
Really?
Or,
That's
like,
one
a
of my
tiny
favorite
bit,
Really?
movies.
Yeah.
It-
And I mean, I had like a 40 something. I wasn't like great. But that's another example of like the speedrunning community where I was doing it and just a ton of Mega Man X speedrunners would just stop by and be like, here's an entire Discord where all we do is practice. Like, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
They're
I'm fighting
just-
this
There's
boss.
so
always a
nice,
Discord. There's always a Discord.
But then
really is.
you look and it's like, oh, hello. 4th, 7th, 13th, and 22nd place. I'll practice with you. Hello,
Right?
I'm number 347. Nice to meet you. Like,
Wait, there's a slide button?
yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but like, I've always liked platformers. I've generally liked Metroidvanias and RPG. Of course, I'm a millennial who was a man in my 20s, so I also played Halos and Call of Duties.
Mhm.
It's-
Yep. of
Feel
course.
like you can't get away from that. But yeah, it was like basic games. I didn't like fully get back into games until Twitch. Like until Twitch, where I was like, all right, we're doing this every night. Like, let's find new things to play. Like that's when I got into Souls games. I got into like lots of different randomizers and stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a decent little chunk of variety for sure.
Have you played a
It's,
Souls
It's,
game?
Wait, what?
Have you played a Souls game?
Yes, I have played all the Souls games. I've done like Dark Souls 1 Deathless. I've done a bunch of Dark Souls
Wow.
1 randomizers. I've done Dark Souls crowd controls. I applied for the Elden Ring crowd control. We'll see. 'Cause
Ooh.
that would
Oh,
be
that's
fun.
right. They just announced that.
yeah, they like.
did.
I was like,
I
hey,
saw that.
I got a birthday stream. You know what would be cool if we could just, you could just let me do that. So yeah, I played a ton of Souls games and like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Souls 1 through 3, randomizers. I've kind of played all.
It's kind of funny how like each community has like its own vibe to it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like on the higher end of like the Souls, like they're endlessly seeking these like ridiculously difficult feats, right?
yeah,
Like it's getting ridiculous at this point what they're
The
trying to
God
do.
run.
Like trying to play the God Run where you're playing like all the Souls, Sekiro, Elden Ring hitless or deathless. Maybe it's hitless. I don't remember what it is.
6 games
If you
back
mess
to
up
back.
once, you gotta start
hitless,
over.
like-
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and like I mean, from my experience playing Elden Ring, the community has been like super helpful. In my experience, like I don't know if that's a general vibe or not, but like in the channel size that I run, and as I'm playing through for a first time, people come in and they're respectful of like not wanting to backseat too hard. But they're also willing to give me tips. I mean, and this is my experience. This is my experience with Elden Ring. They've been good for me. Now, I've heard other people say otherwise, but in my experience, they've actually been pretty good.
It's because you're too mild mannered. They want
Yeah.
the streamer to explode. Their goal of Twitch chat is to
Probably.
poke the bear, and
Mhm.
you're sitting there and you're just like tee hee hee when you get poked.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
there's a bunch of Souls fans who are like, no, I have to tell the streamer how I played. This is a good optimal way to play. And like, there's a bunch of viewers who like insist on telling you how to play. Because
Yep.
you like, and if you're like doing it the wrong way, quote unquote, it's just like,
Which is there?
yeah, you gotta really, sometimes you really gotta tamper that down real quick. You gotta let people know that's not okay. Otherwise they will just keep doing it.
They just don't
Why?
stop.
Uh,
that's why I couldn't play Zelda. Like when Tears of the Kingdom came out, like that's for me.
uh,
And I love seeing my one friend. Like I know this is his biggest pet peeve. And so I go to his stream not to watch him play Zelda, but to watch Twitch chat be like, here's what you need to do. And he's the nicest guy ever, but you see his right eye just start twitching because he's trying to be nice, but he just wants to say, you need to shut your face and learn, kid.
I'll tell you, sometimes you just need to make an example out of one chat person and be like, all of you, look, you see what I just did to that person? I'll do it to you too. Okay?
That's why I time out
Sometimes
Ashley
you just gotta
once
let
a
him
stream.
know. Exactly. No, Kaizo is interesting with Souls, and like there's like a really big like overlap in the communities because I think we like beating really hard challenges, and Souls games just feed into that.
I think
Like a ton,
And a lot of it is just so precision too in both of them. There's so much precision involved.
yeah, we
And
like
they're very similar dances, if you will.
we like failing at something and then learning and then learning and then learning and then like conquering it. Like that's kind of why we play Kaizo,
Mhm.
and that like happens a lot in Souls games too.
There is a
So
lot
it's
of
like-
overlap though with Souls with like the
There really
Kaizo
is,
community.
yeah.
There's a ton, and I think that you hit the nail on the head that we like in the Kaizo community we just crave something more difficult, more difficult, more difficult. So I see the struggle that you'll have after hacker streams.
That's why you also see a lot of us do like challenge runs of just different games. It's like,
Right.
we always want like
Mm-hmm.
the harder, challenging version of whatever the game is. Like that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
We want to learn how to do this, and we want to make it hard, and then we want to beat it. Nice.
I'm out here using Game Shark with my golden eye for infinite ammo and unlimited health. You guys are doing it wrong. I'm telling you, I could go through facility like it's no one's business. Walk through walls. Let's go.
Hey, GoldenEye on whatever is
Ugh.
00 agent or whatever.
No
That
joke.
is
No joke.
a no joke challenge right there.
That-
No joke.
Deep down, I know I mentioned before, if I could be great at one game, I don't know why. Because GoldenEye was huge when I was a kid. Like, I was in junior high. That was the biggest game ever. We played that every sleepover for so much. And, like, my one buddy could unlock all the cheats naturally. Beating Facility on 00 Agent to unlock whatever cheat that gives you at that time you need to do is insane. And he did it all. I was never that good. I was good at multiplayer. But to me, that is the coolest thing ever. And someday, no, I say that like someday I'll be good at ROM hacks. And here we are, 3 years later,
Right.
played one this one time.
Right after you beat Grand Parole 3, you will
Yeah.
get on that GoldenEye career, and you'll be good.
Right, 300,000th in the world for the speedrun.
What was Pops gave me this idea. What was your guys' sleepover video game? When you went over to friend's house, what was the number one game that you broke out and you were playing 4-player multiplayer all night long? What was it?
For me, it went GoldenEye, then it switched to Smash Brothers, and then we graduated high school, and then it was over. Like, and then Halo in college because you could play online. So once online gaming hit, it was over. But it went from 100% GoldenEye, then straight into Smash.
Yeah, GoldenEye and then Smash were the two big. I know I'm a bit of an outlier, but Perfect Dark, which is just the better
Perfect Dark
GoldenEye.
is so good.
Ponch
Throw down
loves
the
The
Perfect Dark.
multiplayer was so
Yeah.
good.
It's
The
just-
multiplayer was so good.
It's like if you asked a kid, like, what are your outrageous dreams that you would want for another GoldenEye? Give us like the wildest things you can think of. They just did it. It's like, oh, you want twice as many guns? We got you. Every gun has a secondary mode. Got you. You want 8 computers, all with like 20 personalities and 8 difficulties? We can do that. Like, you want dizzy effects for some reason? Sure, we'll throw them in the game.
we'll
you
throw
wanna be able-
aliens in there too.
You want to be able to fall? It was outrageous.
Oh, so good. And then all the hidden cheese in the level that did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Rare was so good on the 64.
That was their golden age for sure.
Yes. Oh man, so much time. Like I'm in a similar. It's kind of funny. We're all like in a similar vein. I was always GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and then eventually just evolved into Smash Brothers. And every time I was together with friends, Smash Brothers all night, starting with N64, whatever, going up to Melee, Brawl, and then I think at that point it was just done as far as hanging out in that degree. And then the newer game, like I haven't played a ton of. Like if people come over, we'll play it. But that's very far and few between these days, of course. And then the online just is terrible experience. So you just don't play Smash Brothers online.
Not a good time.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
So many of those, like Mario Maker 2 could have been so much fun, and
Yeah.
it's unplayable. I don't do it. I have not done it once. Well, I did it once. I'm like, well, that's enough for me. Let's move on from that.
The versus lag is rough.
Yeah, and they've just given up on that for Wonder. For Wonder, they're like, oh, you can see ghosts, so you don't actually have to interact with it. It's like, thanks, Nintendo.
I know. Yeah.
Do you want fake online? Because we have fake online for you.
You can leave messages. I mean, you mean email? We can email each other.
Oh, we're gonna be turning that off right away. You're gonna see some messages.
I was like, this is Mario finally crossing over with the Souls games. Now we're leaving messages behind for people. We're seeing their ghosts go on. Are they finally making some type of crossover event here?
Try jumping. Thank you, Mario.
Have we had a podcast since Mario Wonder was announced?
Yes.
I don't know if we.
Because they just did the direct, so I believe we've had one podcast at least since it was announced.
We got a little more information.
We talked about it.
We did a little bit, I think, briefly.
Did we?
I think we talked about the elephant would be the only animal character.
Well,
yeah.
I do remember. Yes, okay.
And they did so they announced Wonder, and then they did like the Wonder Direct.
Yes,
but like the announcement for Wonder was a good long while ago, and there's y'all had to have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe time doesn't exist, so who knows?
That's true.
So, what do you think the Wonder phase is going to be, Mr. Mike? Because everyone's going to play it. Is it going to be 1 week where ROM hackers play it and maker players play it, and then 99% people leave, and then there's one guy, let's call that person Poncho Taco, that decides to speedrun it and becomes the greatest Wonder player? Is that how that, because I have no idea what to expect, because a Mario game hasn't been released since I've been streaming.
New games on Twitch for streamers is always the weirdest thing. And even if it's a game you love, whether or not you want to do it and you know that 50 other people are going to be playing that exact same game at the exact same time, it's so rough. I think Wonder, there's a good chance it looks fun enough that we're all going to be playing.
Right.
It's just Wonder.
I think
looks
so,
really,
yeah.
and it looks like it plays fast, which is kind of what I like my Mario to be. I don't like the super slow, you're on ice type of Mario.
New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
How are you going to play it though? You're one of the best Mario players in the world. Do you get in and get super frustrated? Okay, here's the long straightaway of running. Oh, I gotta power up one.
I mean, yeah, sometimes it feels easy, but you're in a different mindset when you play games like that. You're not I'm looking for the challenge. You're just oh, look how cute this level is. That's kind of how. And to be super clear, a lot of really good Kaizo players are all really good. And then you go look at what they just did. The SMB1 any percent world record just got beaten a couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
They now have they've now hit every single frame rule possible all the way up to 8.4 in a run, and every single one of those is multiple frame perfect inputs a level, and it's I'm not doing that. What are you talking about? So it's what's a really good Mario player is very subjective. It's we're a different type of good than the incredible speedrunners at SMB1 or SM64. We're just a little different. We're a little different.
I feel like that's a good T-shirt somewhere. I just hit every frame rule possible. I'm trying to get the
literally only
down.
One person allowed to wear that shirt because it's never happened before. Not
what if it says Arcade Parlor on the front and the back? It's hitting every frame rule possible. I'm thinking that's good merch right there.
That's good. That's good promotion right there. Yeah, I do agree. I think Mario Wonder is going to be it's going to be a fun week on Twitch. I think everyone's going to play it. It's not going to be long to beat. There's going to be people 100%ing it. Obviously, most people. I think most streamers are going to 100% it their first run because they want to see everything about it. They want people to come and see them play. 100% of the game, right? But then I think it'll just kind of people start filtering back to where they are in the Mario, and I think the only exception to something like that, like Mr. Mighty Mouse, you were saying that it's always an interesting thing for streamers to play a brand new game. I think the only exception to that would be Mario Maker streamers just naturally going to 3. If 3 comes out, you're done with 2, right? You're just going to 3. Maybe, yeah, pretty much immediately. You're just going to 3. Like that's like the one exception where it's like, why even play the old one anymore at this point?
Yeah, no.
Unless you have downloaded worlds that you've been actively working through or something like that. But yeah, I think people will play it. It'll be a fun time. I'm sure the game's going to be polished. It's going to be great. And then people are going to be back to where we were.
It's going to be just like the week that Tears of the Kingdom came out. Everybody on my follow list, including myself, was playing Tears of the Kingdom for that week or two. And then some, of course, stayed with it and speed ran and made challenges and all that stuff. But most of us just went right back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Elden Ring was the same. And it's like the worst. It's the worst example of like the game category being so saturated that it swamps everyone who's playing it.
Right.
Like I would see people who normally have like 100 viewers playing with like single digit viewers. And I was like, it's such an incredibly good game. So you don't want to be like, y'all shouldn't play this.
It's so hard.
But like that was like kind of brutal to watch for that week where it's just like, oh.
And you want to experience it fresh, right?
Yeah,
sure. Sure, you could wait like 6 months but like a game like Elden Ring, I mean, it's still massive, right? It's still. I mean, it's not like in the top 2 rows anymore, unless certain people get on it to do some runs or something like that. But I mean, like it's still, you don't have to scroll too far down to usually find Elden Ring on the browse list. Maybe a few rows on desktop or something, but and it quickly fluctuates, goes up and down, goes up and down. So I mean, like. You'd have to wait a pretty long time for a game like that if you want to, do that type of stream and not be so oversaturated. And it's like, you want to play it because it's a new game. There's so many spoilers that come out with that immediately. If you want to go in blind, and it's tough to make that decision.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous, not going to lie. But it's such a good game.
Even I streamed Elden Ring.
You did briefly.
It was like unstoppable for like a week. That was all you got to watch on Twitch. Like if you didn't want to see it, don't watch Twitch.
Same with Tears of the Kingdom.
That was honestly a super fun week too. That was honestly a super fun week.
It was,
in my opinion.
That was pretty good.
Yep. And it's funny. We were talking like how they have. There's an overlap with for whatever reason with SMW and the Souls, and I think some of that obviously has to do with like the biggest streamer of SMW is one of the biggest ones also of the Souls genre too. So obviously there's a ton of cross promotion of either categories whenever that happens, and people start leaking into each communities, and it's really cool to see. So that's obviously one thing I think that helps them link together really well.
That's fair.
So I've never played a Souls game well. I've played a Souls game and it doesn't matter. It didn't go well. I got lost. Like I know I'd like it if I got into it. I love watching it, but with a ROM hack, what I found is if I'm playing and I figured out I need to jump here at this time with this feel, and that's how you beat this. Like, so it's almost like a puzzle, certain jumps, like here's how I need to approach this jump. And once you figure it out, that's 90% of it. And now it's just execution. Is that the same thing with the Souls series where once you know what to do, it gets so much easier? Or is it different RNG wise where it's like more of a challenge that way?
I would say for the most part, it feels that way. And I mean, every Souls game has like a different vibe or different feel. But like when you're fighting a boss, it's like you start to recognize when he does a certain animation, this is the way you need to dodge. So then it quickly becomes just like a reaction times thing where you see this is happening, your brain needs to remember to do it, and then you do it. And like you eventually just learn everything about the way the boss works. And like that's so it's sort of the same, but it's also like it's almost never like an exact pattern. Because he's gonna come out and they're gonna use different attacks every time and all of that stuff. So it's a little more reaction time based than SMW tends to be.
Yeah.
But the idea that you're like learning how to do it like piece by piece and you're getting further each time very much still applies to Souls games.
That's what's insanity to me. Like if you said, all right, Mike Cheesepots make the perfect game that you want to play. I would literally put together the Dark Souls Elden Ring series, and yet I have not played it once other than that one time. And it's weird because I like watching people play it. This is exactly what I want in the video game, and yet I sit here as like, I'm going to play some Sonic 2 on Sega tonight, I guess. It's weird. I have no idea why I don't touch that series. And now I'm scared to. I don't know. I'm in too deep. I'm not playing it. I don't know.
I will say this. Dark Souls, 1, also a pretty good environment for, blind playthroughs. For the most part, if you, are very clear that, there's a blind playthrough, you don't tell me what to do. There's lots of people who want to watch that suffering. So, that is kind of their jam.
And also, Dark Souls 1 is probably one of the most masterful map designs as well.
Agreed.
The way it all just links back together, it's so good. So good.
I think my problem, if I can remember, in Dark Souls 1, I beat the first section where I was supposed to go. Because a lot of that, if you go the wrong way, you learn quickly because you die right away. And if you go the right way, you die quickly, but not right away. It's I'm trying to figure it out.
You get that glimpse of, I can actually do this. You get that little glimpse.
It feels like you're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I went to the second section and I got lost and I finally looked up a walkthrough. I'm like, I have no idea where I need to go. They're like, you went in backwards. And I'm like, you're getting out of my system, and I'm mad. And then I gave up. And that was my only experience with it.
And now he plays Sonic 2.
Oh, I love Sonic 2.
I do
Dr.
too.
Robotnik, Metal Sonic. Wait, it was Robot Sonic, not Metal Sonic in Sonic 2, because he was gray. My Sonic 2 lore, I know, beat it literally the
I
other
was
day.
gonna say. Yeah, I'll leave that lore to you.
There's a fat man in a egg-shaped thing, and he's after a hedgehog. It's pretty
I'm
sweet.
just over here at least the music is good.
Oh, it's so good.
That's how Poncho
It's so
is.
good.
That's how
That's
Poncho
literally
is.
my argument. The only good thing out of Sonic is the music.
I'm saying. It's a game that wants you to go 1,000,000 miles an hour and then instantly slams you into spikes for going 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's like,
Right?
why did you build a game like this?
There's only two
Why?
levels that let you go fast. In Sonic 1 and 2, there's two, and they spread them out, and then the rest of the game is slow, methodical platforming, and then they punish you if you try to go fast. 3 gets a little bit better with that stuff, and then Mania is perfect.
They've made Kaizo Sonic games. They're not good. They're
I can only
what if you
imagine.
had
I
to
can
really
only
slowly,
imagine.
tediously move with Sonic, but also there's 1,000,000 spikes everywhere, and you have to jump super blindly everywhere? It's like, it's not good.
I love it. I loved all the early Sonic games. I always
it's
will.
fun. It's fun watching it as a video. Sonic is it's a pretty blind game, as in you're pretty often going where you can't see where you're going. That does not lend itself well to Kaizo. Because you're just constantly slamming into things you shouldn't be.
Right.
What's nuts is how much I watch Kaizo Mario. A ton. That's 99% of what I watch on YouTube. I don't watch really a lot of Kaizo of any other game. I watch randomizers of Link to the Zelda games. I love randomizers, but it's weird. I know there's some Donkey Kong Kaizo out there. Not for me. I don't know what it is about Mario Kaizo that just clicks with me, and apparently it clicks with the majority of people, because there's not a lot of.
That's the biggest scene. Yeah.
Is there any other Kaizo scene that's even close that can sniff it?
Not
And
at all.
I can't think of anything, and that just shows how good Super Mario World is as a game, and just accessible to people, because they can watch it played at the highest level and still understand this is cool, this is neat. Whereas other games, it just doesn't sync up that way, and that's weird.
Also, between you and me, there's also a Mega Man X Kaizo.
I have seen some of that.
It does exist too.
In 4th grade, I was in the Mega Man X club, dude. I love Mega Man X. When you said it, I lit up, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
Me and my nerd friends did it. If I could have one series come back, it'd be Castlevania, but then they'd ruin it, and I'd be like, I picked wrong. I should have picked Mega Man X, because Capcom is still a decent company. And 5 and on, it just the kid, because 5 came out. What happened? This is such an easy formula. Just give us more of the formula.
If you've ever watched someone do a marathon of it, and the second they get to 5 on, it's just why did you make any of these games?
4 is so good. And then you go into 5, you're like, all right, we're in the new era. This is going to be amazing. And then you play the first level, and you're like, that's an interesting choice. And then now there's like weird RPG elements that nobody asked for and one-time only events. And like if you pick wrong, now the satellite's down and you feel bad as a player. You're like, what happened here? And they're like, we got to double down on the path we took. They're going to love it in 6. They're going to love a lot of instant deaths.
And then in the next one, we're like, what if we had a boss fight? But like the bosses are voiced, but they only have 2 lines. And they say them over and over again, constantly, nonstop, for the entire fight.
Oh, they'll love it. They'll love it. And instead of having good level design, just nothing but death traps. We don't even have to put enemies in it. Just lava and spikes the whole level.
Yeah. Sorry, we're just like on a Mega Man X hating, like divergent here.
Well, we already had our monthly Sonic talk about how bad those games are. So now we might as well start talking about Mega Man now.
Half of Mega Man X is incredible, and half of it is terrible. And I've never seen such a divide, like a quality divide in a game series, where like literally like some of the best games of all time cross that line, some of the worst games of all time. They're ridiculous.
They went to 3D, and I guess like the Japanese version of the 3D game was moderately balanced, like you could actually play it. And then in the US, they're like, let's quadruple everyone's health and make damage output insane so no one can have fun. And so I never played that one. And then I guess the one after it, they went back to a 2D perspective with like 3D sprites or something, which is my least, as an adult, give me my retro sprites, but that's just me. And I guess that one is actually decent, but they did so much harm in the series that no one played it or cared about it. And so that's when it died.
Oh yeah, I know, like up until like actually watching people play it on Twitch, I didn't realize they were still making Mega Man X games. Like as an adult for like up until like present day, I was like, no, I had no idea Mega Man X games were still going.
Same.
Thank goodness I didn't, because young dumb me probably would have been like, I remember liking Mega Man X games. We should go play those. And I would have hated it.
So cool. It, like, all they needed to do was the same, but I digress. I mean, I can always just go back and fire up 1, 2. 3 is just paced so weird, where, like, where 1 and 2 had a flow if you won 100% of the game, which is the fun part. 3 had a lot of, okay, go back into the fire level, get the one item, go back into ice, go back into fire again to get it. It didn't flow nearly as well as 1, 2, and 4.
Little tedious. Tiny bit tedious.
Yeah. And the sword is 0 and 4. I'm like, we got something. Playing as Mega Man is amazing. Playing as Zero is absolutely incredible.
That's all we've wanted to do since the beginning of the series is play as Zero. Thank you.
Spinning with the sword in the air. Like, they figured it out on Super Nintendo. The Star Wars games, terrible games, graphics amazing, but jumping with a lightsaber and spinning is the most fun you can have. And they're like, let's do it with Zero.
I refuse to play Superstar.
They look beautiful, and then the level design is Little Timmy #DGR level, where it's just brutal, but it looks good. It looks good, and you can spin with a lightsaber.
And you get
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. You can spin, you can with a lightsaber and look cool.
I beat one of those, and afterwards I'm like, I had no fulfillment, and I'm like, what did I just do with my life? That was hard and not good hard. It was bad hard.
Yeah.
A little ridiculous of a game, for sure.
So, okay, so yeah. Mega Man. Yeah, that's Mega Man. And Sonic. We had our monthly Sonic discussion about our thoughts on that. What about games we're playing now? Is anybody playing any? I mean, I know obviously we all play a lot of Mario and stuff like that on stream and stuff like that. Do you play anything offline these days, Mr. Mighty Mouse? Or are you pretty much, if you play video games, it's pretty much just Mario on Twitch these days?
I think the only things I played offline they're very like affectionately brain dead games. They were like Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing that went to my head.
I was playing like Halls of Torment, where like it was really fun to like, I'm just sitting there grinding because like, man, go unlock this thing. But like, as I'm just playing, like my jaw might as well be slack with like drool coming down it. Like it's a very like my brain does not need to be on to play this. So like I'm fine playing this offline. But yeah, no, offline there's not nearly as many games that I play. Mainly just because I don't have a ton of offline time.
Mm-hmm.
Just not there.
Yeah, time is definitely hard to find when you're also streaming and stuff like that. Offline, I've been playing a very cool, popular game. I've been playing some Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah.
Which is really good. I very much enjoy that game. I have my own little campaign, and then I also have another one where a buddy of mine, we sometimes get together at night and we play together. And it's incredible. It's like the same story, if you will, but each game could not be any different. Like it's insane how different the playthroughs are. The quest lines that are opened up, stuff like that. It's incredible. And it's I don't know the last time I've seen a game that's been so universally praised by people who play it. Like nobody says anything bad about Baldur's Gate 3. Like everybody just likes it. It works well. It's Dungeons and Dragons. If you've ever played it, it streamlines Dungeons and Dragons in a way that if you've ever found it confusing, it just kind of lays it out. It says, okay, here's your move sets. Here's what's available to you. And once you do this, you're done. Your turn's done. You can't do anything more. And when you level up and everything, if you've ever found Dungeons and Dragons confusing with leveling up and stuff, it just streamlines it, makes it really easy. And it's just a great experience playing it especially playing with a friend. It's really cool because you can have like your own ulterior motives, and like you can mark your conversations as private so that they can't eavesdrop and watch your cutscenes and stuff if you want, so they don't know what you're talking about with other NPCs and stuff. Or you can leave it open and they can watch and see what your choices are as far as things. But you can mark yourself as private. So if you're like secretly an evil person or something like that, you can keep that all private, and the other person wouldn't know that.
The more you're talking, the more I feel bad for the friend you're playing with. He's like,
I know, right?
You can really be like mean to your friends if you want. The game lets you do that. And we're like, what?
You can also just go up and just kill your friend if you want. Like,
Yeah,
you can just right
to.
click and say attack if you wanted and kill their character completely. You can go up and kill like anybody you want. You can kill mainline characters, and like it'll just naturally branch in some form. I don't know how they do it.
There's like 30,000 unique lines of dialogue or something silly in that game. Like it's actually ridiculous.
I think I read like 177 endings or something like that, depending on how you get there.
I can't imagine that.
It's cool to play too because the production value is so high on it. Like the graphic fidelity is super good, and it just works really well. And I don't know. It's a really cool game, very unique. It definitely is it's a niche game that I think is going to do big things. Like I think a lot of people are going to try D&D again, or try it for the first time after this, because this game came out so big. It's still pretty big on Twitch right now. It was big on Twitch for about a month, pretty big up there, and because it's such a long game. And I think it's going to introduce D&D more to the main audience again, or more to a broad audience again, at least for once, for a little while. And I don't know if everybody here, I know Pops, you've played D&D. I don't know if MrMightyMouse, if you've ever played it or anything like that, but it's definitely, I know Ashley, you have not played it. I don't even have to ask you.
I have not. I've been present during a game,
going into that
but...
for a first time. Yeah, and going into that for a first time, it's confusing to play. It's confusing. There's so many systems and stuff, and this game just kind of streamlines it all. The only downside I will say, and this isn't really a bad thing because it's just the intention of it, is that you obviously don't have a human DM that has some house rules and stuff like that. Like it's very much like, this is D&D 5th edition. There is no variation, and that's not a fault. That's just D&D 5e. But they definitely you don't get like the house rules where like the DM will let something slide occasionally or something like that. It's definitely like these
they
are
won't
the rule
fudge
sets.
the rolls for you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the only downside. And again, that's not a fault of the game because that's the game. There's no way you can program human intervention. Yeah, exactly. But it's a sick game. I recommend it if anybody's even semi interested in a choice based top down tactical game. Also, it's really good. I'm very much enjoying it.
I think there's like two things that are universally fun. One is opening a pack of cards when you don't know what you're going to get. And two is just rolling dice. Rolling dice is always fun. And deep down, you're like, I'm getting those 20s, baby. I'm getting those 20s. So, I think no matter what has those two things, you're going to have a fun time if you have either one of them.
And then you always get that critical one. critical failure, and it's like it's always like I don't know because like because I don't know if you guys realize, but when you're also playing these other games like Mass Effect and stuff, there is also like a dice roll in the background. They just don't make it as apparent as like Baldur's Gate does, where you actually see the dice moving, because there is actually that randomization in the background too. But like you see it and you're like, all right, all I need is a 4. And then you roll a critical 1 and you fail the dumbest thing possible. And it's like, well, that's how the game's gonna unfold now. Now I'm gonna have to fight everybody in here because I couldn't persuade somebody with a roll of 4.
Should have rolled better.
My favorite dice background or dice rolling in the background was in Morrowind, where everything was just a fail. Miss, 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 and you have those stupid birds just killing you. I hate this game. 18 hours to load to miss 93 shots in a row.
Yeah.
Love Morrowind though.
And there is still some background rolling in Baldur's Gate 3. Like you'll like if you're in combat, there's the background stuff. So if you say I want to shoot an arrow at this guy, you'll shoot an arrow from like 3 feet away and it'll say miss. You know, it'll do that occasionally. And it's like, okay, that's the 3rd time in a row that's happened. Come on. Let me hit him. He's right there. But it's still a great game, great experience, really fun with friends. Like it's surprisingly surprisingly good how well it works, and the systems that they built into that. But that's what I'm playing. Baldur's Gate 3 in the background. I play that not constantly, but I'm getting some good progress into it. Having a good time with that. Is anybody else playing any? What are you playing, Pops?
I'm gonna sneeze.
Oh, you're gonna sneeze. Okay, never mind. You're gonna sneeze.
I am playing some games. Sorry,
Pops was over there.
We thought he was just really excited to tell us what the game
I thought maybe he was
was.
muted.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell us he's gonna sneeze.
Oh. So I do this thing, and it's not just me. I'm sure a lot of people do. Like when Tears of the Kingdom came out, huge game, played it a ton, ate up my life. But when I play a big game like that, I tend to revert back to shorter, quick 40-minute games. I go like I'm in full retro mode right now, and even arcade mode. So like,
nice.
Recently I beat Mystical Ninja. Hopefully challenge another streamer to that. The streamer challenged me to the race, so I've beaten it like 3 times already. I'm ready to go, and now he's lollygagging. You know who you are, coward. Challenge me. All right. And that being said, I played. I'm trying to do more retro. Normally, when retro mode, I go back to my hits. I'm gonna play all the Castlevanias. I'm gonna play Contra 4 on Super Nintendo, Contra 1. This time I'm trying something different and playing games that I know are good that I've never played. So recently I've been playing Thunder Force 3 on Sega Genesis, Thunderblade, something like that. But the music,
great soundtrack. I was gonna say the music is so good.
It's incredible, and like I love that you can level select. You still have to beat all the levels, but you can pick the level you start on. And so I've gone through and kind of gotten pretty decent at every level, and I still have to put it all together. But there's not a lot of RNG. It's more like, okay, here's how I approach and attack. And I've had a blast with that. Still need to beat it, but I've been playing that. And I have a 1-up arcade machine of old Atari games with the trackball. And just having a night trying to set high scores without having to think too much. There's some weird old, like, there's one, it's like Pac-Man, but you're a bear. And the bear runs around collecting pellets and honey, and bees are after you. I think it's called like Crystal Castles or something like that. The wife and I played that, and she is amazing at it. She had the high score, so our scores now go me with the high score, her with 73 high scores, and then me I had one round where I was just in the zone, and she says it's because I'm stubborn and I can't let her have any nice things, and like it was just I had one good. She is so much better than me at it, but it was so much fun. So trackball arcade games, absolutely a blast for me right now, like Centipede, things like that. So that's what I'm going all on Retroid. And like the next thing I know is going to be randos. I'm going to be playing a Link to the Past randomizers again, because that's like one step up from retro. It's 2 hours instead of 40 minutes. And I know that's where I'm headed.
To the Past. I love A Link to the Past rando.
They're so good. They really are. And it's so fun. And then it's like opening a pack of cards, that universally thing. Like, what's in this random chest? And then when you get the butter sword, even though it's not helpful, it feels so good. But when you have to fight Ganon with just the Master Sword, there's not a worse feeling until you beat it. And you're like, that was the worst seed of all time, but I did it. I'll never do it again. If I don't have the Master, like, I'm not that good. It's brutal. Punch, I'm telling you, you can't just hit Ganon with any regular Master Sword shard. You have to charge it up for each individual baby hit. And that is such a nuisance. I cannot stress to you, a Ganon fight that would normally take 5 minutes now takes 45 hours because you're charging up every shot. And then when you're about to win, of course he knocks you down the cliff and you have to start the fight over because Ganon's... I'm sorry, I'm ranting again.
I recently learned that apparently in Ocarina of Time you can deflect Ganon's attacks with a glass bottle.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That. Yep, I was crowd controlling Ocarina of Time a couple months ago, a full playthrough that way, and somebody took my sword. And I thought I was soft locked. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then somebody came and was like, I think you can do this with your jar. And I was like, what the heck? Let me try this. Sure enough, Ganon has like the power of the power of everything, of lightning and the sun, and he's blasting me, and I just take this little jar, and I'm like, ping, ping, like right back at him. I was like, this is amazing.
I think they kept that consistent through the series. Twilight, you can distract Ganon with a fishing rod. Mm-hmm. So the Twilight fight, if you pull out the fishing rod, he's like, ooh, look at that, all pretty. And
that's funny. I like that they build that in.
Skyward Sword has the net. You could do that to Demise. So if you pull out the net, Demise thinks you're... I don't remember with Wind Waker if it had something. I think it did.
In A Link to the Past, you can reflect it with the net too.
Net the spin around.
Whenever he shoots at you, you can use the net to...
I may have actually seen that. That sounds familiar.
You know A Link to the Past. Is Girahim, is that Ganon? Or is that Ganon's lackey? Or is that someone possessed by Ganon? I, as a kid, didn't know, and I still don't know.
Listen, I think all Zelda lore is a lie. I'm not the person to ask.
It's someone I think they made.
Ganon. I think they all made it up retroactively. That timeline is garbage.
Same with Castlevania lore. None of it makes sense. It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah. There's still fantastic, great games, individually great stories. Once you start adding them up, though, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I still don't... Lackey? Maybe? What do you think, Ashley? Is he a lack? Wait, have you even played A Link to the Past?
I've beat every console Zelda game.
All right, sounds like a lie.
It's not.
No, I believe that. I think she has Zelda manga.
Right?
I do. It's the only manga that I own, actually. I'm not a big... I've never watched a lot of like anime or anything, and the only other comics I read is The Walking Dead. So, but a viewer sent me a whole series of Zelda manga. I've really got to crack that open. That'd probably be a really good read.
So who's Girahim? Nice. Just a henchman?
A follower of Ganon.
I like that Pops keeps coming back. He's like, I gotta know.
I gotta know. As a kid. So it's just a follower that wants Ganon to come back to life or get back into the light world?
That's their ruler. Like, that's their everything. So they're doing everything that they can.
How did he even find out about Ganon? He's chilling in the light world, doesn't like it, needs Ganon to come back. I don't get it. That's how you derail a podcast, Poncho.
That's it. All right, let's go ahead and you know what time it is? I think it's time that we check out some voicemails and emails. We had some voicemails sent in to us. For our listeners here, if you want to drop us a voicemail, our phone number is 402-915-1082. Call that number, you'll go directly to voicemail. Drop us a voicemail. We'll play it here on stream, and we'll have something to discuss here. And we do have a couple of voicemails that I do want to play here. Of some points of things for us to talk about here. So let me go ahead and get that queued up here. Where is it here? Here we go.
Yo, it's your boy, Donald WD518. Okay, so here's the deal. You have to eliminate a major gaming franchise from Nintendo's library and all of its work. Which one are you picking and why? Also, I vote Cheese Pops off the island. Sorry, bud.
You're gone, Mike. You're gone.
Unbelievable. Cheap shot.
So, You have been given the task that you have to eliminate a major gaming franchise from Nintendo in all of its history. Which one are you guys chaotic evil here and picking like a Zelda, a Mario, or are we going something a little bit more?
I
more
feel
quiet here.
I feel like there's no way you pick one of the like huge tentpole, like the Mario, the Zelda. Ooh, that's such a tough question.
Like I feel like
and
we're all
also
gonna-
if you delete Mario, you're deleting like Mario Kart,
Yeah.
Mario Party, like you're
Mhm.
deleting everything.
But we have to define major, because I think I love Splatoon, but I can live without Splatoon. Like, is Kid Icarus major?
I think
Yeah.
Splatoon I think Splatoon counts as a major. I think Kid Icarus does
They've gotten
too.
pretty big.
I mean, Splatoon 3 was one of the biggest games of the year, right? I mean, I didn't
Super
play it,
fun. Except I
Yeah.
get wrecked online. I joined a little too late, and everyone was already the master of paints, and I'm sitting there with like my crayons, and they just wrecked me.
but I'll tell you what I'm going to get rid of. Pikmin. Get Pikmin out of here. I
I'm with you.
don't
I
need
could
you.
see
I don't
that.
need you silly little followers. Get out of here. Every single game looks exactly the same to me. Make different games.
I'm with you,
I think
Pikmin.
that's a safe one.
I feel sad when they die, and so I don't play.
Now you
I
don't
like
have to
them.
feel sad anymore because they're gone.
Yeah.
Fine.
And the time limit, it's like time limit and losing friends. That's for me, Pikmin, those are like my two least favorite things, losing friends and having a time limit. Like all I hear is the Sonic sound when you're underwater running out of
The
breath.
Sonic drowning music.
Oh, and then it's terrifying, and it's like in the middle of the day, and it's supposed to be this cute game. I don't even have anxiety issues. My anxiety's through the roof. I hear the little guys getting eaten by a dog, and then you see their little ghosts. Like everything's going wrong here, and I'm on
Their
day
little
one.
souls are leaving.
I'm on day one. Get out of here, Pikmin.
What about you, Ashley? Do you have any thoughts?
I've never really seen much Pikmin gameplay myself, so I don't really know much about it. So I'll just hop on the train with you guys, and I'll say Pikmin.
I have a thought here, and it's because of one reason. I'm gonna pick Fire Emblem. Do you know why?
Yes.
Because
Smash Brothers.
every time I would tune in for a Smash Brothers Direct, it was just another freaking Fire
I
Emblem
knew
character,
it.
another
Yeah.
Swords character, and I was getting so annoyed. It's like, give us these other iconic characters. Nobody's ever heard of this person except for the 100 people that play that game. I don't know. Like, it's all because of Smash Brothers. Get Fire Emblem out of there. Get cooler characters into Smash Brothers.
It'd be like the silhouette of Earthworm Jim, and you're like, oh, and then the curtain comes down, and it's Ike 3, now with an X,
Yes.
and you're like, oh my
Ike
God.
3.
All that reminds me of is the Pokemon Who Is This? And then it's like a circle, and like it's Electrode, and it's like it's Jigglypuff from above.
Just-
That's what the
Yes.
Fire Emblem characters are every single time.
Oh.
We're like, oh, it's that. Nope, just another Fire Emblem. Nice try, nerd.
Those games are fun, but I liked Advance Wars better, so I'm cool with getting rid of Fire Emblem. I'm bad at those types of games. Anything that requires intelligence, and planning, and skill, out.
I think that's honestly my game, and it's all because of Smash Brothers. That's why I don't play the games. I know they always get good reviews. People who are a fan of the series like the series quite a bit. They're usually all great, but it's all because of Smash Brothers. It's too many Fire Emblem characters. Too many. Get them
Listen,
out.
we're getting rid of games. You're allowed to be selfish.
Right?
That's true. It's my
They're like,
choice.
nothing is selfish about this decision to wipe the game off the planet. Nope, I don't think so.
When I think of Fire Emblem, I think of like the grid-based attack, and I saw like the trailer
Mhm.
for the houses and stuff, and there's people talking and story, and I'm like,
Yes.
not for me. Get me out
Yeah,
of here.
there's a whole lot of character
Dialogue and
dialogue
lore?
and
I
stuff
don't
like
think so, not in my
romancing,
game.
They got it all. They have it all in that game.
And that's not what I was thinking, but like that's not for me. And if it's for you, that's awesome. More power to you. But like I love turn-based RPGs. Let me get to the turn-based part of it. The role-playing part, like that's for D&D and hanging out with friends. I'd rather do that.
Fair.
All right, I also have one more voicemail here. I'm gonna play one more here. Let me go ahead and get this queued up.
Hey guys, long-time listener, second-time caller, Lobster's Reef here. My question is, What do you think about Charles Martinet's new role as Mario Ambassador? All right. And go.
So this is something that came out within the last week and a half. That Charles Martinet is no longer doing voiceover for Mario. And that just came out and now he's taken up a new position of ambassador. I don't know. I don't remember what his new.
It's the Mario ambassador.
Is he called?
Yes.
That's his actual new title.
Yep.
Okay. What do you guys think? This just came out. We don't have any confirmation on who the new voice actor is. I think all Nintendo said was you're gonna have to wait until the end credits of Wonder to see who's attributed to that. I think that's all they've said.
Yeah. Charles Martinet just came out with a video, and Miyamoto was in it as well. And I'm sure everyone's going to be shocked. I cried. I cried when I was watching it. I mean, he just had such a beautiful message, and, who said, I can't wait to meet you all at future events. And he was like, I'm not retiring. Everybody. Like, he really made sure he let everybody know that. But I remember him saying when they first announced it, like, I really don't know what that means for me quite yet. But I love that he's staying in the family and how much, like, he's touched by the people who are fans of Mario. But it's also, like, cool that Nintendo's going to keep going with it. Like, Mario has never died in 35 years, and it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. So, they're keeping up with the times.
I've definitely killed Mario a lot of times.
Not me.
Is there anybody who's died more than Mario? Is there anybody?
That's a great question. What video game character has
not
died
to discredit
the
anything
most?
he said, Ashley, but I just latched onto that.
I am going to be thinking about that all night because Mario has to be up there.
I mean, it depends. In the Halo games, do we consider like multiplayer like everyone's Master Chief?
Even if we did,
I don't know.
It'd be
it says Mario's still got to. He's just been around for like 3 to 4 decades. Yeah.
That first Goomba. For me, it's cool. Like, there's a lot of things that could have happened behind the scenes. He could have been forced out. Like, hey, we want Mario to talk a lot more and have an actual voice and do. If we're gonna make a Mario RPG instead of just one lines, he's gonna talk a lot more. If that's the direction they go, like, I kind of get it because his voice is awesome in one-liners. When everyone was like, how are you not going to use his voice for the entire movie? It's like, you realize 2 hours of that, you would go insane. Like, he is awesome. But there's only like, woohoo, I really like it. There's only so much you can do, of that. So if he talks more, and like, my hope is that he just retired because he's old and gets to live his dream. Because that's the dream.
Yeah.
Just traveling around the world, being a voice and hanging out with fans that love your work. Like, if I could do that now, if I had a wish, like, I wish I was that. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. But if he was forced out, I'd be bummed, but I would also get it. Only if they're going to have Mario talk a lot more. If they forced him out just to have another guy do one-liners, I don't get it.
Yeah, and I mean, vocal work it's hard enough to do, period. I mean, it's got to be hard to maintain that when you're, like, getting into elderly age range.
Yeah.
Just like your voice has to go a little. I mean, that's just the march of time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the Mario voice since SM64.
Yeah, he's been for forever. And I mean, I don't know. The fact that they're making him an ambassador is really cool.
Yeah.
Dream job.
And from my understanding too, is whenever they used a Mario voice, each game he would come in for new voiceover. Like, they did reuse previous VOs, you know, from like SM64 for Mario Kart or vice versa or anything. Like, each game was fresh recordings.
Right.
So yeah. So he did do work, which is, he did a lot like that.
I love Mario in Luigi's Mansion 3. That was my favorite work he did. He was such a jerk. So cocky in front of Luigi. It was so good. Luigi, let's go! And just flips up the mansion in 2 seconds, and Luigi has to slowly shuffle. Oh, so good. So good. I think my favorite video game voiceover just is the announcer from Super Monkey Ball. If I could have that dude announce my life, that would be so perfect for like 5 minutes. But it'd be a great 5 minutes.
Not for long. I'm speaking of going crazy from hearing someone's voice, having that like constantly narrated. I might go insane. Yeah.
How long do you guys think it's going to be until we get a fully voice acted Mario game?
They did it with Zelda.
Yeah.
Well, but Link is still silent in those games, right?
Right.
No, I'm talking like Mario himself talking lines.
Mario,
Like,
the movie, the game.
Right.
Yeah,
Voiced
like
by
they've
Chris
done
Pratt.
it.
Yeah.
They did it with the movie, right? I mean, I think it's coming down the pipeline in a video game form in some fashion at this point.
I'll say Switch 2.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird. What's that?
Switch 2, we'll see it.
Switch 2. I mean, I think we'll see it in the next generation. I think we will. And whether it's like an RPG sequel of some sort, an RPG game, or I don't know, like some 3D game, I think we're gonna see full voice acting at some point. Do I think it's Chris Pratt? No, I don't think it would be.
This is the future.
I don't know who it will be though.
That'd be a cushy job. You
I was thinking
he
the
doesn't
same
talk
thing.
a lot. Be a cushy job. Like my thoughts now going down this rabbit hole, which is interesting, is that we might finally get Mario RPG 2. I think Paper Mario's played its course. We're getting the reboot of 1 and like a fleshed out different kind of like more RPG, Mario RPG, where there's like voice acting and stuff. Would be interesting.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
I love
They'll never do it.
Mario RPG. It's one of my
Right, it's so
favorite
good.
all time games.
Never
Well, too
played. I
bad.
can't
You're
wait.
You're getting Paper Mario where you attack the bad guys by playing baseball. Paper Mario Strike Zone. Coming
Now,
soon.
Ashley, you've
That could
never
easily
played
be a
Mario.
game.
You've never played Mario RPG, have you, Ashley?
No, I'm looking forward to the remake just because I was hoping for a port of the original before we got anything like a remake, but since that's not something easily streamable, I don't have a SNES or anything like that. But I've never played it. I've seen gameplay. It looks awesome, and I will definitely play the remake day one.
There's better RPGs
Nice.
out there, but it was my introduction to RPGs.
There's-
It taught me everything I know
There-
about RPGs.
It,
Like
it has
every-
a charm. So
Every
charming, too.
every element of it, there's like another RPG that does something better than it. Yeah, it's unique in a very charming way, where it's just like I can't help but keep putting it up top.
So how-
My favorite.
Maybe I'm alone on an island here, but I loved the first Paper Mario. I treasure that game. I've replayed it so many times. I loved Thousand Year Door, but I feel like people who love Thousand Year Door more, usually Thousand Year Door was their first Paper Mario. I had the first one first, and
That's fair.
I've played it so many times. I loved the first two so much. So I think that I will definitely really enjoy SMRPG.
They're similar. RPG just has weirder and cooler elements. Like the weirdness of Mario RPG is part of its charm because there's very clearly so many Mushroom Kingdoms things in there. But then also there's these bad guys that have no place whatsoever. It's the combination of two universes that I don't think Nintendo has ever been even close to again for how cool, weird, and the secrets in that game kind of were the first time we're like, there could be an Easter egg anywhere. You mean I have to pick the hand 99 times to get this weird item to find a bean to go plant to get that? Like the secrets in that game are like, they don't do secrets well like that anymore. And it kind of like made me think there could be anything in any wall in any video game moving forward. Mario RPG was just so unique and cool at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it did a lot of good. Like it winked at itself. If that's a good way to phrase it, where it kind of like poked fun at the genre and like poked fun at itself a little.
Oh yeah.
And was like we know what we're doing. It did that all the time, but in like a really cute, not just like weirdly self-referential way. It was really good.
The only thing that made me punch the wall mad is that treasure chest you have one chance to get at the very beginning of the game. Like, oh, sorry. And, it doesn't matter, but, oh.
Yeah. Agreed. So again, our phone number for Arcade Parlor, for those who may want to send in a voicemail to be discussed, is 402-915-1082. We also do have an email address, which is email@arcadeparlorcast.com, which you can send us. If you don't want to leave us a voicemail, you can send us an email there. and we might just read it here on the podcast here. Ashley, I think we had a couple come in. Did you want to read one for us here?
Sure. The first one I have here comes from our own tie-dye chef Dave. It says, "Hey y'all, if you could dream up a Mario Maker 3 game for either Switch or on the next Nintendo console, what game styles would you pull from for level making? And how would the game be better with your design? Also, what characters from Nintendo games would be featured in it?" Me first.
Go for it.
First of all, I put Peach in there right away. Peach would be a playable character all day long. I never played the first Maker, so I didn't get the costumes or any of the fun stuff.
So like floaty Peach, like from like SMB2, where Peach kind of like can jump and like float, or like kind of regular?
So that's my next thing I was going to say too, is that if I get to pick other games that get pulled, I would love to see SMB2 style without it just being a power up in SMB1. So if we had SMB2 style levels, wouldn't that be so cool if all the characters could have their original, powers from SMB2, like with the floaty jumping of Luigi and like the actual like kind of like floating through the air with her dress of Peach. Like that would be the coolest thing ever. I would love to see that as just its own style of level. Have Peach be a playable character in all of them, where it's, she's the same in some of the other styles, but that she still gets to be playable. But the only thing I would say with Mario Maker 3, if I could pick anything in a third Mario Maker, it would be restart from a checkpoint. Restart from checkpoint 100% would
bring it back from Maker 1.
I didn't even know that was in Maker 1. But if you could start the level over and restart from checkpoint, I think it would totally change the game.
It was, and like when you'd start a level, you would just do like restart level. And then like sometimes you'd finally get a midway on a level you're grinding, and then like out of habit you would accidentally hit restart level instead of like start from midway, and you just like, no, I just got it. And it would just like send you back and like lose your. It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
If we're talking about characters, this would be a pure copium, but I would love to see Donkey Kong brought in. It would be weird, but you know what? We just had the Mario movie where he's getting fire flowers. He's getting power-ups and stuff, and I'm like, when are they going to bring Mario? Like, I was waiting in Mario Wonder for the Donkey Kong announcement at this point. Like, we're seeing him with abilities. We've never seen him get the fire flower to my knowledge before. So he can acquire these abilities. Like, I was waiting for the Donkey Kong announcement to come into Mario Wonder. I mean, like, Donkey Kong's my favorite Nintendo character. I would love to. He's not going to be in Mario Maker 3 because I don't know how you'd do that. To be honest, because the character doesn't really fit overly well into that type of scenario where you have to have something that can account for all the characters having the same move sets. But
yeah,
like he would be cool. I thought maybe we would see the announcement of him in Mario Wonder at this point.
I have a really simple Maker request, and it's one I've wanted since Maker 1 for a long time. And it's super simple, but it's super fundamental. Give each of the games their different physics. Make new soups, like new soup levels, the new soup physics. SMB1, improved SMB1 physics, because SMB1 is garbage physics. We can make those a little. Like give give SMW physics. Give SMB3 physics.
Okay.
And make each of those levels like you're playing, like they would be from the game.
I like that.
Instead of just having the one big physics set that ties them all together. Because like you're not going to run into like an issue where it was made for this physics set and it's in this so you can't do it. Because like you still have to clear check it with those physics. But I would love to have like the different physics. So it actually like feels like you're playing different things instead of like just it's a different item available or whatever in the different modes. I've wanted that since that was on my dream list for Maker 2. I didn't get it. Surely it'll be on Maker 3.
I remember when I first fired up Maker 1, I had just played a ton of Mario 3, and the first time I flew with the tail, I'm like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel good. What's happening here? And then I had to look it up. I'm like, there's no way. And that's when I realized it's all just universal physics, and I was super bummed out.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Maybe someday.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dave. I love you, Dave. I care about you. I'm not going to answer your question, though, Dave. What I am going to do is tell you exactly what Nintendo's going to give us. We're not going to get Mario Maker 3. When they make the new Switch, they're going to release Mario Maker 2 Deluxe. And all they're going to add to it is the Hammer Brothers suit. But they're also going to take away 3 things that we like. And that's what we're going to get. Mario Maker 2 Deluxe with Hammer suit. And then you're going to be like, wait, what happened to all these other features? And then that's Nintendo. Done. There you go, Dave.
Yep.
Don't
This
worry.
is the better version of the game.
They're going to give you 13 sounds and then never add any more sounds.
We'll get a direct a month later that says, "Oh, sorry guys, we're actually going to stop updating it forever."
Yes.
Huge update.
And we've
We're
also
adding
stopped
2
production.
things.
The cape is
We'll
now gone
see
too.
you all in a year. Like,
Instead of updates, they'll be like, here are the things we're removing. Frog suit, gone. We have replaced it with a better coin sound effect.
they have a big countdown to the end of the game where they've just finally removed all of the items and objects.
One by
Dude,
one.
Doomsday clock.
We're
I love
done
it.
here.
You're left with only snake blocks. That's it.
Yeah.
All of the levels by the end.
Every single level's just a snake block now.
Conveyor belts.
We no longer have floors. You have to build every level using snake blocks. Nintendo.
Now we're talking. I can get behind this.
Ashley, do we have another email to
We
be read?
did have a lot of emails come through. Thank you guys so much for sending. But we have time for one more today, and I'm going to read one again from our good friend Donald. And this one says, "Are you a cereal then milk or a milk then cereal kind of person?" But there's a part 2 to this, which I think I'll let us answer this one, and then I'll read the part 2.
If
Okay.
anyone answers
So
this
cereal.
wrong, we're just
I know.
deleting the podcast. If anyone puts milk in first,
I was like, my fingers hovering over the disconnect button in Discord. it's cereal then milk. That's the only
Always.
logical way to do this.
for all time. I did
Punch?
do a YouTube video where I put milk in first just to trigger people, but that was
You
only
did.
to trigger people.
Yeah, that's the only way. If you're putting in milk, I mean, that's serial killer tactics right there. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That if you are, you need to look at yourself and determine are you killing someone today? What are you doing?
Cereal density is all different. Fruity Pebbles, different density than Cheerios, and you know the exact level of milk that you want. And so you pour the milk in. Once it reaches to that point on the bowl, you know you're good. You can't predict that if you put the cereal in after the milk.
That's
So
true.
now I pour the milk in and I'm doing grape nuts, super dense cereal. I'm overflowing. This is a disaster because I decided to put the milk in first. This is science 101.
And
This is
cereal
basic science.
floats. Cereal
Exactly.
floats. So when you do
Yes.
that, then you have
Yep.
like half of your cereal that's just like on the top of the milk, and it's like never even touched milk. And it's like, well, now you have to mix it up anyway because that's how you poured your bowl. And now you wouldn't have to mix it up if you just did it the other way. Why did you bother doing it that way?
It's insanity.
And also, it's about maximizing how much cereal you have in that bowl. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I get like a bowl that's probably made more for salad. And I fill that thing. There's like this much room from the top. Like, it's close to top. And then I put in milk till it's just elevated. I'm like, all right, this is a bowl of cereal. Like, there's got to be at least like 7 servings in there of cereal. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You got to maximize how many cinnamon toast crunches in there. Got to maximize it.
I don't like milk, so when I eat cereal, I still put it in a bowl and eat it with a spoon like a normal. But I don't.
I thought you were about to say water.
No,
I
I don't
thought you
put
were about to say
anything.
water. I would have been like,
Listen,
No.
dry cereal, no shame in that game.
No, it's good.
No shame. But if I had
It's good. It's good.
if I had to put something in it, like another, like an oat milk or whatever, it would definitely be cereal first. This is a cereal first podcast.
All right.
Part 2
I'm
here.
worried now. Yeah.
Part 2 here. Also,
let's hear part 2.
Also, when getting dressed, are you a sock, shoe, or a sock, shoe?
It's the same. No one puts one sock and shoe on individually. Like, no one does that. Donald, what kind of questions
That
are these?
confuses me. It's sock, shoe.
I'm more of a shoe sock kind of guy.
Right? When you
Oh,
brush
you
your
put
teeth,
the
that's
shoe.
what
You
I
put the
am.
shoe on first and then the sock.
Yeah.
Okay.
My socks don't last very long.
Just
when I
put-
brush
yeah,
my
just
teeth, I
putting it
floss
over.
the top half and brush the top half. Then I stop and floss the bottom half. And no, there's
Oh
a
my
common
God.
sense approach to these things. It's not even taught to you, Donald. These are things that are not taught. They're in our DNA that this is how it works. The fact that this question was asked out loud. I have never been angrier at a viewer in my entire life.
You know how parents see like red flags in kids when they do something and you're like, I'm a little worried about that child. That's what be my reaction if they put on a sock shoe. I'd be like, do we need to like go talk to somebody about? Is there like a therapist we need to like?
We need to
notify about this behavior.
Scientists, we need top minds to figure out what went wrong here because that's not okay.
Where did we go wrong raising him? Is this our fault?
That's something I would do to bug my wife on purpose. Like if I know she's watching me and not saying to me, I'd put on a sock, then a shoe, then a sock, then a shoe, just to be that mental terrorist, to keep the relationship, spicy.
Yeah,
keep it spicy.
That's what will do it.
Nothing keeps a relationship spicy like gaslighting.
Oh, right. Just what is he doing? Why would he do this?
What is going on?
I've never seen him do that before. Has he always done that?
Right.
And I've just never
questioning
noticed.
your whole life.
Right. It's one of my favorite stand-up acts of all time. It's like Chris Rock when you catch your significant other looking at you and they're just disgusted and they're like, they're thinking like, I could have married Bill. I had a chance and this is the guy I chose. Unbelievable. Look at him sit there with his one sock, one shoe technique. This is outrageous.
I've made a mistake.
Oh, my mom was right.
My mom was right. Again, for our listeners, our email address is email@arcadeparlorcast.com. Send us an email there at any time. It may be featured on one of our future episodes here. That's going to end our voicemail and email segment of the podcast here. And now we're going to go around as we're coming to a close here. We are coming in on our time. We're going to kind of go around a little bit. We have a little bit of self-promo, some cool stuff happening in each of our channels and stuff, and as well as other platforms and stuff. And we're going to tell you a little bit about that. Mr. Mighty Mouse, do you want to go first? Where can our viewers find you?
I mean, obviously, biggest place is Twitch. Also, I guess Twitter. We're gonna keep calling it Twitter. TikTok, YouTube, the usual suspects. Most of the time, you can find me on weeknights because I work a full-time job too. So I get off and then I start streaming, and like 6 to 10-ish evening kind of range, playing nothing but hard Mario. Almost all the time until I desperately need a break. Then we go play something else, maybe a nice comfy RPG or something afterwards. But yeah, most of what I do is on Twitch for sure. That's the vast majority of what I'm doing.
Awesome.
So that, and I have like a 12-hour stream on this Friday. I think we found out while we're taping this that we all have do we all have birthdays coming up? Is that what it is? No. Just me and Ponch have like birthdays this weekend. So we were like, I guess we'll do big streams. Why not? So,
that's what you gotta do.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta actually celebrate your birthday like a real human being. So that'll be exciting.
Cool. Awesome. Ashley, where can we find you? What do you have going on?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Ashley with 2Es_FL. I'm streaming Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday nights, also Saturday afternoons. I'm usually streaming as well. You can find me with the same handle on YouTube or Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days. I put weekly content out on my TikTok. Is Ashley_Florida, all spelled out. I'm doing ROM hacks these days. Still doing a little bit of Super Mario Maker 2, and Thursday nights we do retro Sega.
Awesome. Mike, where can we find you?
All right, I am Cheese Pops on all the good stuff. If you can't find me, you don't have enough peas in there because the original Cheese Pops with the normal amount was taken, so I added one. You'll find me eventually. I actually got a big one coming up. So on this Saturday, the 16th, I will be doing my longest stream ever. I don't know how long it will be, but it will be 1,000 endless easy levels. So the levels are going to be just beautiful. But because I am not a smart man, I am not a good husband, I am letting Twitch decide the birthday present I'm going to be getting my wife this year, which is coming up at the end of the month. So I've wanted a pellet smoker for like my entire life. So you can choose for me to get my wife something I've wanted in a pellet smoker. Or there's a hot springs near us, a Golden Girls hot spring spa that she has wanted to go to since we moved out here. So you could be nice to my wife and potentially save my marriage by voting to have me take her to where she wants to go. Or you could just be absolute trolls and get her the meats and the pellet smoker. And so I swear to you, whatever votes wins, I will do, much to my own danger. And I don't know what else to say. It's a dumb decision, but if we're locked in, we're doing it. So this Saturday, if you can either come help save or ruin my marriage, hope to see you there. Pretty much it. And then also down the road, look for me and Mr. Mighty Mouse to be doing the Zelda or Mega Man X Legacy Collection speed race where we beat all of the games. Definitely going to happen.
For sure.
Awesome. Can't wait. As for me, you can find me twitch.tv/Pontrataco. What do we have going on? As of recording now, this coming Friday on the 15th, I'm going to be doing a 12-hour in celebration of my birthday. I don't share the same birthday as Mr. Mighty Mouse. We're actually one day apart. But I'm celebrating on the 15th, 12-hour stream. Gonna be a good time. A lot of fun games that we're gonna be queuing up and stuff like that. So that's coming up on September 15th. The other thing I'll say is, and I'll say it again next podcast, is October's right around the corner. One of the best months on Twitch, in my opinion. I get to see a lot of scary games getting played and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing a playthrough of Resident Evil 4 Remake. I've not done the remake yet, and I'm super excited about it to see what they've changed and stuff. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. Be playing that, and then maybe some other stuff, depending on how long that takes, of course. But that's coming up. October, favorite month on Twitch, for me at least. I have a lot of fun watching people play spooky games, action horror, everything like that. So it's always a good time. Always a good time. So that is coming up. I think that's it, guys. This is episode 13. Mr. Mighty Mouse, thank you for joining us. This was awesome.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That was a blast.
That was good.
And make sure if you guys are listening to this, follow Mr. Mighty Mouse. Check out the channel. Have a good time in there as he attempts to finalize beating this hacker's dreams.
It's gonna be a while.
We all know you like to watch people suffer. There's a channel you can watch someone suffer for a while. With that said, this has been episode 13. Thank you to those who tuned in on the live stream. Hope you had a good time. And as well, everybody else who's tuning in as this releases. As one last note, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you have a lot of time in your day. You have a lot of your time in day. Take some time. Give us that 5-star rating. Give us that 5-star rating. It takes 1 second. Why not use one of those seconds to hit that 5-star on there? With that said, adios, everybody. Have a great rest of your week and month. We'll catch you live back here in October. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya. Did I say Sia or Sega? What happened there? I sounded like a Sega commercial. Sega.
Please put that in the episode.
I'm still thinking about that story you told at the beginning. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that story.